Um,
So, looking at that and not, I mean, that's what a way to start a ministry.
mhm.
You know, that's pretty powerful. And if that story hasn't been written down by the parents as well, they should be, just because that child will want to tell that story later in life. But I'm, I listen and I'm hearing, yes, we want the presence, we want all those things. But what is it that drives your heart for the Lord? Why the presence? Not so much, not theologically, but internally. What motivates you towards the presence and the purposes that God has you? Not like well, we say not the what or the how, but the why. Why is it that, thank you, Simon Sinek, for his golden
Yeah.
circle, but what is it that drives that motivates that? Because I know
Mhm.
that's that's the real heartbeat behind the Father. It's not the outcome is fabulous, but
Mhm.
it's because each person has very unique
Mhm.
perspectives on why they do things.
Mhm.
And it's those that connect with people. And
Mhm.
and it's those that make us go kind of sit up. And yeah, those amazing times when he moves like that, that's an amazing time. And yet that thing is what's behind it. What is it about him
Mhm.
personally that motivates you?
He's real. He's alive. And
Mm.
as I began to encounter him and to know him, I realized how he literally, like, it's not just a story in a book. He's real. He's active. He's alive, and he's intimate with us. He's intimate with
Yeah,
me. And so my passion is just knowing him, and that's why worship is an avenue of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But just knowing him for who he is and the relationship that I've had with him, he speaks and I hear him and we have a dialogue. It's a conversation, and
Yeah.
he's
How
not
does how
far.
does he speak with you a lot? What's that like for you? What is it? What is your relationship in a conversation? I'm assuming it's conversational, but what is intimacy with God to you? Yeah,
Mhm. I,
yeah,
for me, it kind of goes back. We were going to talk about the Abraham factor aspect, but it comes
yes.
back to that aspect of um, of having a heart bent towards the Lord. And so my conversation with the Lord is for me is daily. It's not like I don't turn it off, I guess you could say.
Gotcha.
It's not something that it's like I'm going to spend this amount of time with the Lord this morning, or and I was like, there's not many relationships that you compartmentalize it like that. Like my wife, I don't tell her, hey, I'm going to talk to you this morning from 9 to 10, and then I'll see you tomorrow. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
And so my relationship with him is really that. I try to keep my heart leaning towards him throughout my day, because you never know when he wants to speak, when he wants to, have time. He comes in times where I'm least expecting. And if my heart is not ready, if my heart's not bent towards him, leaning towards him, I could miss that conversation.
You mentioned the word real. What makes Jesus real to you?
Yeah.
You-
Well, I mean, I have seen him, like he'll speak and then I will see the manifestations of that.
Ah,
Like it's
yeah,
not just it's not vague.
right.
The thing I've tried to do is I've tried to respond when he speaks. This is how I try to live my relationship with the Lord. Is the Lord spoke to me years ago. He gave me this picture and he called it the Abraham factor, where Abraham, he heard the Lord say, sacrifice your son Isaac.
Mm.
the Lord had already come in prior and said, through him, your offspring are going to be uncountable, innumerable. And it says that Abraham believed him and it was counted to him as righteousness.
Okay.
Like Abraham believed what God had spoken. And God spoke to him to go sacrifice his son. And so as he was going, he said, go to the land of Moriah. So he said, I'll show you which mount to go to. And so Abraham had to be in continual conversation with the Lord as he went. And then as he was about to sacrifice his son, the Lord stopped him right as he was about to sacrifice his son, provided a
Okay.
ram.
Yeah.
And Abraham said, well, the Lord will provide. He'll provide what's required in the sacrifice. And the
Yeah.
Lord spoke to me in that. He said, Abraham went off of what God had spoken until he heard him speak. And then he went off of what he was speaking.
Yes.
And that is my relationship with the Lord. I will go off of what he's spoken to me through the scriptures, through prophetic words, just through my intimacy as I'm spending time with him. I have my heart bent, I'm listening. And I'll do what he said to do in that process as a friend. You know, he's Lord, but as in our friendship. And then if he speaks again, I'll then go off of what he's speaking. That is how I operate. I just am in conversation with him and I just try to obey when he
Yep.
speaks. And
Yep.
when he,
Absolutely.
I try to shift with him.
I
And it,
call it the Brother Lawrence model. You know, that just walking moment by moment, just stepping into it, just going after what we hear in the moment and stepping through until he, you know, it's kind of like you don't change marching orders until he changes marching orders. But when he changes marching orders, those are no longer any good. That's true of the army. The army is you have a marching order, but when that commander says, hey, I've got new marching orders for you. You're not going to sit over here and wait around. You're going to step into it. And I feel, you know, really what you're saying is a lot of times this is what happens with believers is with anybody is we stay stuck on this because we aren't listening. We aren't taking the time to really listen.